Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a crisis that's literally shaken the Indian education system to its core, the massive NEET UG 2026 paper leak. We're going to see how a highly sophisticated, high-tech network compromised one of the toughest competitive exams on the planet. But honestly, what we're really focusing on today is the human cost. We need to talk about the devastating emotional toll this failure is taking on honest, hardworking students all over the country.
Just think about it for a second. Imagine pouring 2 solid years of your life into one single goal. You've sacrificed your sleep, you've missed out on hanging with friends, and you've pushed your mental health to the absolute brink for just this one exam day. You did everything right. You put in the grueling late-night study sessions, and then? Imagine having all of that sweat and sacrifice just erased, vanishing right before your eyes in a matter of 42 hours. For millions of dedicated students, that nightmare suddenly became a very cold reality.
That's 22.79 lakh medical aspirants. Their futures were thrown into total chaos the second the National Testing Agency officially canceled the exam. To put that staggering number into perspective, nearly 2.3 million students is a population bigger than some small countries. That is millions of individuals all waking up to find their deeply held dreams put on indefinite hold because of a massive systemic failure completely out of their control.
So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 1. The shocking exam cancellation, 2. The anatomy of the paper leak, 3. The nationwide investigation begins, 4. The mental toll on students, and 5. What happens next for aspirants?
All right, let's start with Section 1, the shocking exam cancellation. Let's look at how this bombshell timeline actually dropped.
As protests broke out nationwide, the sentiment on the streets was loud and clear, and this one placard really hit the nail on the head. Doctor degree on sale. It perfectly captures the pure frustration and shattered trust of honest students. I mean, they played by the rules. They battled the burnout and the brutal anxiety, only to realize the system had completely failed to protect the sanctity of their hard work.
The speed of this escalation is truly unprecedented. It all started with a late-night WhatsApp message circulating on May 2nd, literally hours before the exam on May 3rd. By May 7th, a brave whistleblower stepped up to alert the NTA. And then, boom, on May 12th, the unthinkable happened. The National Medical Entrance Exam was officially scrapped. In just 10 short days, this multi-layered, heavily guarded process completely collapsed.
Moving right into Section 2, anatomy of the paper leak. How does a breach of this massive scale actually happen?
Well, these criminals operated under the guise of distributing what they called a guest paper. But let's be real, this wasn't just a list of helpful hints. They used high-definition portable scanners specifically designed to sneak past mobile phone detectors at the printing presses. And to dodge digital tracking, they used leased-line shadow servers routing through Nashik. This allowed them to blast near-perfect copies of the test to a highly restricted Telegram group of about 400 members, calling themselves the Private Mafia. It was a digital heist executed with chilling precision.
The accuracy here is just staggering. Authorities found that every single biology question, all 90 of them, and all 45 chemistry questions from the leaked PDFs were exact, verbatim matches to the real exam. In some cases, they even copied the punctuation errors from the original draft. There was absolutely zero guesswork involved here. Buyers were literally handed the exact key to a medical college seat.
Which brings us to Section 3, the nationwide investigation begins. Once the sheer scale of this academic fraud became obvious, law enforcement had to mobilize fast.
Tracing the path of the leaked paper reveals this crazy multi-state web of corruption. It started with that untraceable digital leak in Nashik, routed quietly through Gurugram, hit a compromised printing press link in Jaipur, and then absolutely flooded the massive coaching hubs in Sikar. From there, it spread like wildfire to desperate buyers as far away as Kerala, Bihar, and Jammu and Kashmir.
The crackdown has been massive. The CBI has officially taken over, launching sweeping raids across 7 states. They've detained the alleged mastermind Manish Yadav in Jaipur, and in Nashik, they arrested Shubham Hainar, who reportedly bought the paper for 10 lakh rupees, only to instantly flip it for 15 lakh. Meanwhile, this crisis has triggered a huge cross-party political uproar. Leaders across the entire political spectrum are intensely debating the integrity of our exam system, demanding accountability from millions of youth whose futures have been toyed with.
Now that takes us to Section 4, the mental toll on students. Beyond the police raids and political debates, this is the much darker reality we absolutely have to address.
Listen to this quote from an aspirant. "My year will get wasted. It will create demotivation. How can NTA be so careless?"
We have to deeply validate these voices. The sheer devastation of realizing a year or more of your life has been seemingly wasted is an immense psychological burden. These students poured their hearts into this. Having your timeline ripped away through absolutely no fault of your own breeds incredible anxiety and a crushing feeling of total helplessness against a careless system.
And you know, it's not just the students. As PhysicsWala CEO Alakh Pandey pointed out, 1 crore people are sad. A whole family was fighting to make their child a doctor. It's so true. Millions of anxious parents sacrificed their life savings, they skipped vacations, they emotionally invested in a shared dream. When a student preps for NEET, the entire household absorbs the stress. It was the collective hope of these entire families that got betrayed by a paper solver gang.
Honestly, perhaps the most heartbreaking aspect is the reality for the honest students who legitimately secured a safe score, say 600 plus, on their first try. For them, the fear that lightning might not strike twice is a cruel, heavy burden. Having to somehow recreate peak performance under extreme duress is unfair. This uncertainty is creating severe mental distress for candidates who rightfully earned their marks and now have to prove themselves all over again.
Finally, let's look at Section 5. What happens next for aspirants? While the anger and grief are completely justified, the clock is still ticking. Let's look at the practical roadmap.
First, the logistics, which hopefully provide one tiny bit of comfort in all this chaos. You will not have to pay any additional examination fees. In fact, your original application fees are being fully refunded. You don't need to deal with the headache of re-registering, your data just carries forward. And, very importantly, the exam format and syllabus will remain exactly the same. The re-NEET is officially expected to happen in late June or early July.
To reclaim your power in this incredibly unfair situation, you need a structured strategy. Treat the canceled May 3rd paper not as a failure, but as your ultimate diagnostic tool. Sit down and solve it under strict, timed conditions. Find your conceptual gaps, identify exactly where you hesitated, and forcefully pivot your prep back into high gear. Don't start from scratch. Focus strictly on targeted revision and high-weightage topics to secure that 600-plus score once again.
As you head back to your books with commendable, incredible resilience, the burden of proof is no longer on you. It's entirely on the system. We're left to wonder, can the authorities actually implement the ironclad reforms needed to ensure a breach of this magnitude never happens again? And more importantly, can a system that allowed dreams to be sold to the highest bidder ever truly rebuild the trust of its youth before test day? Thank you for watching this explainer. Keep your heads up, stay focused, and I'll catch you in the next one.